Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Going Rounds podcast, episode 61, Thursday night, and shitty internet. I really hope that this is gonna come across okay. What can I say? I'm out of town. I try to make things happen. It's not looking great from what I'm seeing as far as my stats and stuff go, but I don't know what to do. I'm gonna try to just push through, and hopefully, it's not horrible. That's really all I can do. So, um, yeah, I'm here though. I'm gonna go through it. There's no UFC going on this weekend, but there's other stuff happening, and there's lots of news going on. Man, the picture doesn't look great. I hope the audio's coming over good. If you're watching live, let me know how things are looking. Hopefully it's not too bad. But yeah, we're gonna push through, and it's a lot of news going on. Like I said, I gotta gather myself here because I'm just all freaking out because I can see that things are not connecting well. Looks and sounds fine here. Oh, my wife said it looks good, so I'm happy about that. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. I love you. I miss you. I'll be home soon. I've been out of town all week. It's been, it's been not fun, but I make things happen. So work is work, and we keep going with it. Just lots of projects going on. So basically, I'm just trying to get a project done out here, out of town. We're going to come to a standstill here soon. I'll probably be out here again next week. So at least I get to go home for the weekend and hang out with the family. But then I'll have to turn around and come back Monday. So that's never fun, but it is what it is. And I'm push through. Hopefully I won't have to come back for another few weeks after that. And then I'll just be dealing with the craziness back at home as far as work goes. But like I said, we got a lot of news to talk about today. I got a lot of opinions about things that have been happening recently. And as far as the UFC goes, they'll be back not this weekend, but next weekend, of course. I think it was like 17 weeks straight of fights, which is pretty insane. But, they did say they were going on a long road of nonstop fights. So now they come to a quick little, weekend off before all of the holidays hit, where I'm sure there'll be more time off. And the end of the year is going to be kind of a banger of ending to the year, because there's, like I said last week, there's like 5 title fights over the next few months. The last 2 months, November and December, being 2 title fights for each of those cards. So it's going to be nutty and fun if you're a fight fan, especially if you're a UFC fan. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm not pushing for that too quickly because this year has gone by way too fast, and I just needed to slow down a little bit, just a little bit. It's getting a little crazy. I feel like the days, I can't even remember what I did like 3 days ago, because the days just all blend together. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but it just seems so crazy how fast the year's gone by, how many just days and then weeks and then months just fly by like nothing. It's like, weren't we just in June? I remember July like it was yesterday, even though I just said I don't remember what I did 3 days ago. But that's because it goes by so fast. Everything just meshes together. It's a big pile of steaming blurriness, I guess. I don't want to say shit. Hasn't all been shit. So, yeah. But back to combat sports, because that's what we're here to do. Talk about that. We got some boxing to talk about. That's the biggest thing happening this weekend. Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez. It's a pretty big fight. A lot of boxing fans are hyped about that one. I am too. I mean, I don't usually pay for the pay-per-views when it comes to boxing. I don't want to say unless it's a big one, because this is a big one. So, but I just don't have, I don't know. I'll watch the highlights. I hear so much about it in the lead up from all of the other shows and interviews and stuff. Boxing's just not my thing. I pay so much money for all the UFCs every month. I'm not gonna go in on a night of boxing that I would love to see the main event, but that's it. I'm not into the rest of it. So I probably won't watch it live, but we'll see what happens. What else we got? We got some BKFC, so we got some bare knuckle fighting going on this weekend as well. And One Championship has a pretty big card this weekend, headlined by women. It's an all-women main card, which is pretty dope. You don't see that very often, so women main eventers you see a lot, but as far as entire main cards being filled with women, that's usually not a thing with all these promotions that have men and women fighting in them. So that's interesting. So we'll get into that a little bit because obviously there's no UFC. We got to talk about everything else a little more in depth, and that's okay with me because a break from the main course that we usually have here is okay every once in a while. I'm glad there's not so many because content would be scarce then, but UFC keeps me busy every single week, and that's cool, and I love it. That's my favorite organization, my favorite promotion to watch. So, and a lot of people, that's the biggest mainstream thing for a lot of people when it comes to MMA. So yeah, it's fun and it's cool, and it'll be back. We'll have some good stuff to talk about when it does come back. Until then, let's get into the craziness of boxing, and we'll start here with some influencer boxing. And I know a lot of people don't like it, a lot of people hate it. It's okay. You can hate it, you can love it, you can despise it, or it can be whatever to you, but it is what it is, and it's a big thing in the news. Influencers, they rule the world right now in a lot of things because social media is everywhere and everyone is on it. Everyone pays attention to it for the most part, and these boxing matches have become pretty big, and they're transitioning over into becoming professional boxing matches with guys getting professional boxing records from it, like Jake Paul. So I do feel like it's necessary to talk about it, but there's also a lot of drama, so it's fun to watch the trolling. It's fun to watch people getting worked up. It's fun to watch everything happening with it. And when it's two guys you want to see get the shit kicked out of them, you can't lose. So why not talk about it? So let's get into it right now. And if you see me looking down in weird ways, it's because I have a very condensed area to work with here. So I'm trying my best to not make it weird. But, I do what I can, and I work with what I got. And I'm just happy I have the capability to actually put the show out there and not have to miss it. This week wouldn't have been such a bad week to take off, but what the hell else am I doing out here? I'm stuck in this shitty ass hotel room. Leaving here would be stupid because there's nothing to do. I have like very minimal food to choose from for dinners and stuff too. So it's nothing to do out here. It sucks. So I might as well put my attention on the show. So let's do that and let's have some fun and get into it. Starting with this shit. Dillon Danis versus Logan Paul. And if you're watching this and you see that picture right there and you're like, wait a minute, that's not Dillon Danis. That's because Dillon Danis and Logan Paul haven't had an official face-off like this because Danis is a little bitch and he left the press conference when things got crazy. So it was announced that Mike Perry, former UFC fighter and current BKFC fighter, is the backup fighter for this match with Logan Paul versus Dillon Danis. So if Dillon Danis acts like the little pussy that he usually acts like and drops out of a fight, then Mike Perry will come in and beat the shit out of Logan Paul, because it doesn't matter how much bigger Logan Paul is. Mike Perry's a fucking dog, and he's been bare knuckle boxing. I think he'll kick the shit out of Logan Paul, so that'll be fun. So it's a win-win here. And you get to watch the fucking trash fire bullshit that's going on the outside of all of this. And if you've been following it, you know Dillon Danis has been the fucking troll that he is, and he's been posting pics of Nina Agdal, who is Logan Paul's fiance, and he's been relentless, finding every picture he can to basically try to embarrass and troll Nina Agdal. She's a supermodel. But you know, she has all this content out there. Anybody can find it. She's been on shows. Now, here's the thing. She's been on these shows and she said these things, and a lot of it is for the content of the show. A lot of it might be true. She talks about how much she loves dick. I don't know. Make whatever judgments you want. Whatever. But it gives a troll like Dillon Danis a lot to work with. And he's found other videos and seemingly personal pictures that he's been posting on X, formerly known as Twitter. So he's been all over the place, to the point that Nina Agdal has taken legal action against him and filed for a restraining order for him not to be posting these personally explicit pictures and defaming content about her on the internet. So does he listen? He doesn't, because Dillon Danis is a hard-headed fuck and he's a fucking troll. And he will not stop. He's relentless, like I said. Now, this has given a lot of media attention, a lot of social media attention, a lot of attention in general to this fight. And really, they're not even the main event. Logan Paul and Dillon Danis are the, well, he likes to say second main event, but they're the co-main event. They're not the main event. The main event is KSI versus Tommy Fury. Now, Tommy Fury is an actual professional boxer, and KSI has been doing this influencing boxing, doing shit like boxing two guys at once. I mean, that's a little commendable, I guess, if you want to show that you can beat up two fucking losers in a ring because they don't box like you do. That's fun, I guess. I don't know. Now he's trying to prove himself against Tommy Fury, who just beat Jake Paul in his last fight. So KSI and Jake Paul have beef, of course. So KSI is trying to prove a point that he's better than Jake Paul by beating Tommy Fury, which Jake Paul couldn't do. So that's the main event of this. But Dillon Danis has been such a troll and has been going back and forth with Logan and posting all the pics of Nina Agdal that, yeah, it's become basically the most notable fight on this card. Until now, I don't know what's happening. Because as you can see here, if you're watching this, if you see the picture, it says, "I'm over this shit, peace." That's what Dillon Danis posted on X. Seemingly, that means he's out of the fight, right? I'm over this shit, peace. He's pulling a Conor McGregor. That's what Conor does. Thanks for the cheddar. I'm out. Like, and everyone's like, did he just fucking retire? Like, what happened? What just happened here? Like, what is this about? Why is he being cryptic? Because that's what a troll does. They don't give you everything. They give you a little bit so that you can grab on and be like, what's next? What's happening? Give me more. Give me more. And, you know, they're sitting on a throne of cash that they're making off of being a big troll and getting all of the engagements on their social media so that their sponsors are like, you know, thinking that they're worth all the money that they're putting into it. Let's see, what do we got? We got somebody in the chat saying, do you think Dillon Danis will win against Logan? Oh, man. So, you know, I haven't gone through this that much. But what I'm going to say is, off the cuff, I have to say, I don't think Dillon Danis can beat him. And Dillon is immersed in combat sports, unlike Logan Paul, who has done, you know, WWE, but he's done boxing matches in the past. More notable against Floyd Mayweather, who Mayweather was trying apparently to actually knock him out and finish him, but couldn't. But Logan's also way bigger than Floyd Mayweather, but Floyd Mayweather's the GOAT. So, you know, that's his biggest notable thing that he's done. He lost and tied to KSI when they first started all this shit, and I don't know who else he fought. I don't even care. He just hasn't done as much as his brother. But I do think that Dillon Danis, if you watch his MMA fights, is not a great striker whatsoever. He is a ground fighter. He's a grappler. He's a jiu-jitsu player of a high level, and that's his game. So, and then every fight that he's supposed to have been a part of, he's dropped out of. So he hasn't proven himself whatsoever. And just because he's a training partner of Conor McGregor doesn't mean shit. Conor's supposed to be training him right now, and there's no training footage anywhere to be seen or found. So I'm thinking Logan Paul wins if Dillon Danis even shows up. But let's get back to that, because that's what I'm talking about here. I'm over this shit. Peace. Dillon Danis posts that on X. I appreciate the question though, Hamada in the chat, and anybody else that has questions, go for it. Throw them in there on the topic I'm talking about. Let's have a discussion. I'm good with that. I like to interact and engage. But Dillon Danis posts this, and then Logan Paul responds with his own little meme, his own little ultimatum of sorts. The red pill, the blue pill, which one is he going to choose? He says, pull out, pay Logan $100K, ruin reputation forever, lose in federal court, and declare bankruptcy. Now, the explanation behind that one is because in the contract, if Dillon Danis pulls out of this fight, he has to pay Logan Paul $100K. And Logan's claiming that would bankrupt that would bankrupt him, because he basically is saying that he's broke. So whatever. And the federal court thing is because Nina Agdal is suing him in federal court and has a like I said, a restraining order on him that if he violates, which he kind of has already, that he will be taken to court and have to face consequences. So on the other hand, he says, fight and get KO'd by Logan, suffer major embarrassment, make some money, lose it all in federal court. So, you know, the trolls are out. The trolls are here, and the trolls are thriving, because when you got beef like this, Logan Paul has made his life by trolling. Dillon Danis has become one of the biggest trolls in the combat sports world. So this is just beef between trolls. Which one's gonna win? Which one's gonna win the moral battle? Which one's gonna win the real battle? Or will there even be one? That's the question. So with this, Logan also went on the MMA Hour on Wednesday, and he said the behavior became a bit stalker-esque. Then it's cyberbullying, then it's harassment, then it's committing a federal crime. It's clear to me that his intention from the get-go was to pick a fight with a woman, because that's what a person like Dillon Danis would do. He's a coward, no matter how you cut it. Having an entire photo gallery of a woman you've never met before on your phone with over 500 photos is fucking weird. That's what Logan Paul thinks. Here's the thing. Like I said, Logan Paul is one of the biggest trolls out there. He's made his entire life earnings has been on trolling. Look at the things that he's done in his past. Look at what he's gotten in trouble for, because he had to post something on YouTube for content to get likes, to get views, to get engagements, to get followers, to get subscribers. Look at what he's done. Case in point, if you're watching this and you see this picture, Dillon Danis is wearing that hat for a reason. This was at the press conference that they had a while back, like a month ago, a few weeks ago. Why is he wearing that hat? It's weird, right? Like, why would you wear that? What is he doing? He's trolling, because that's what, along the lines that Logan Paul was wearing in that video when he was in the suicide forest in Japan, I believe it was, where he is in the forefront of the camera, talking into the camera, while in the background there's a person hanging in a tree, because that's why it's called the suicide forest. That's what people go to do. And he put this on YouTube again to get the clout. So Dillon Danis is being the ultimate troll here, digging deep and finding something to replicate the hoodie that Logan was wearing in that, because he says he's a piece of shit for doing stuff like that. So they're playing the game, they're going back and forth. They're trying to one-up each other, and apparently Dillon Danis took it too far, because now little Logan Paul is getting a slap on the wrist by his woman because she doesn't like that she's been pulled into it. But it's such an easy target. Unfortunately, I don't like Dillon Danis that much, but I don't like Logan Paul that much either. So it's a tie. and for me, it's an easy target to go after her. But that's also what makes Dillon Danis an idiot, because why is he going after her when Logan is just as easy as a target as well? Because there's so much out there on him. He's been in the limelight, in the public eye for so long, and he's done so many stupid fucking things. So why wouldn't you just go after him? Well, because Dillon wants to hit him where it hurts. He's a newly engaged man, and his new fiance is now feeling the wrath of a troll and being engaged to a troll, because that's what they do. They play these fucking games. So what are you gonna do? I mean, Logan, you got to deal with what you put out there, right? You're getting a dose of your own medicine. Maybe you feel like you've never taken it this far. Maybe you feel like this is too much. Maybe you feel like he's picking a fight on an innocent woman. How dare he? Well, you're out there putting things on the internet that are not respectful to a lot of other people, like the families of the person that decided to take their own life. And you're making fun of it and having fun with it on YouTube. Like, that's just one example I keep harping on. It's because, like I said in this picture, Dillon Danis is referencing that. So, but those are the types of things Logan Paul has done. You can find so many other things. Just like KSI, just like Jake Paul, you can find so many things. Now, when you put your life online and your life is a YouTube video, it's gonna happen. Especially when you think that doing the outrageous shit to get the views and the likes and the subscribers, and you make your money that way, you got to one up it every time. And after year after year of doing these things, you're going to run out of shit. So you're going to try to go for the most outrageous stuff. And these guys have been doing it since they've been kids. Maybe they're a little more grown up now, and now they want to say, oh, well, here's the morals. You can't do this. You can't do that. Well, where were your morals back then, fucker? Right? So I think this is fighting fire with fire. Now, I wouldn't put up with it. Dillon Danis wouldn't. If I was in Logan's place, I'd be like, fuck the money, fuck the fight. I'm going to find you in the street, and I'm going to put you down. But he doesn't want that. He wants the clicks. He likes the views. He likes everything. He likes it all, whether he wants to admit it or not. So Dillon goes on X again, because that's where he lives. And he says, Logan Paul knows that if he loses to me, his career is over. He's doing everything in his power to prevent this fight from happening, and he will try to make it seem like it's my fault. Classic scam artist. Another troll. Classic scam artist, because Logan Paul's been involved with the cryptocurrency scam of sort that was brought to light by CoffeeZilla and a bunch of other people with the crypto zoo thing. So again, Dillon is constantly trolling. That's what he does. And apparently he's good at it. He finds all these things, but it's a fucking easy target. Like I said, it's so easy to do. It's so easy. You know, it's like, I don't know, it's so easy. He continues with, Logan doesn't want me to fight, which is why he's resorting to the law. He can't handle the truth or accept that I expose Nina for who she is. A real man would want to handle it in the ring. Using lawsuits to flex doesn't make you tough. It just shows how much of a pussy you are. Oh man, I gotta give it to him. This motherfucker is good sometimes. And I halfway agree with him in this. Well, at the same time, he put himself in this position, going after an innocent person, an innocent bystander. He can say what he wants about her, call her a whore, call her a slut. Whatever he wants to say about her doesn't mean it's true. Now, the evidence he's putting out there doesn't look good on her behalf. But again, the narrative can get twisted and turned however you want to make it look so that people can believe whatever you want them to believe. So it is what it is. And I feel like he did cross the line a little bit, but I have to admit it's been entertaining, and watching this go down, because Logan Paul is such a troll himself, it's entertaining, and that's what they want. So they're getting what they want. Now, Danis also went on, posted this pic, and said, man, can't take a break off Twitter without people thinking I'm pulling out. Because he did mention something, like it's hard to keep up with all of his posts, all of his tweets, if you want to call him that still. It's hard to keep up because he posts so much. Like, he'll post every hour on the hour, twice in an hour, 3 times in an hour, all day long. So he had mentioned at one point in time, I happened to catch it, that he said he was going to take a break for a minute. I believe that's what happened. Or he said he was thinking about taking a break, something like that. But yeah, I guess he says that he took a break off Twitter, and now people are thinking he's pulling out. Well, you wrote that fucking post that said, I'm sick of this shit, I'm out. Like, what do you think people are gonna think, man? What the fuck? Like, these guys are constant trolling. That's what their life consists of. And it just continues. But Dillon Danis is taking this a bit serious, I believe, because he's out there training with Alex Pereira, and I mean, that's not a joke right there. That is that's, I mean, how tough is Pereira going on him? Is he giving him a break, or is he, you know, putting it on him? I don't know, but either way, for Danis to even go and train with him is more than I would have given him credit for. Oh, 1 second. Oh, I thought I was gonna sneeze. Yeah, but he's doing it. So I mean, Logan Paul can take what he wants from that one. But that's, to me, it's a little bit of a more serious situation with him doing stuff like training with Pereira, who is a former UFC champion, knocked out Israel Adesanya and knocked out Sean Strickland, and has just been on a tear. So he says, heavy rounds today with Alex Pereira, UFC. Don't worry, Logan. Getting the ring cards ready for Nina. I'll be there October 14th, and I'm going to break your face, pussy. So he also responded, I've heard about this one earlier, and I didn't find it, and I didn't put it up here, but I heard this one earlier. It's when Logan posted that picture of, you know, the red pill and the blue pill, and Danis just responded with, I haven't pulled out, but your dad should have. Like, this is the level of trolling we're at right now, man. It's insane. But it goes even further, because you can also say that this picture right here, this post, is a bit of trolling in itself, because basically Alex Pereira, who I mentioned earlier, knocked out Israel Adesanya, right? Well, Pereira's kind of a troll in his own right, like low key, right? Well, here it is. Logan trained with Israel Adesanya because Izzy is a prime athlete now, along with Alexander Volkanovski, and they trained together a couple times. So it's almost like Dillon did the training with Pereira as a troll, because of course Pereira knocked out Izzy. Follow it here. Follow this. Are you following? Are you keeping up? Because there's a lot of fucking trolling going on here. This storyline just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, this is why I'm talking about it. This is why I have so much on this, because it's just constant trolling. The storyline never ends, and you don't know if they're trolling or if they're being real. You don't know on both sides. So what do you do? You just follow along, try to keep up, and be entertained. That's all there is to it. Because I'll give both of them that credit right there. They know how to keep people engaged and entertained, whether it's purposeful or not. So Dillon Danis might not be smart enough to make it to be on purpose. Logan Paul is smart enough. He's proven that before, but he looks a little weak right now, letting his woman kind of call the shots here, and taking all this action. It's a little weird, but I guess I can't blame her at the same time. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. So keep up. October 14th is the fight. We'll see if Danis shows up. But if he doesn't, Mike Perry is waiting, licking his chops, ready to show the world what he can do to somebody like Logan Paul, because he's going to make a big bag of cash on top of have a lot of clout when he does what I know he can do to Logan Paul. So wait for it, because it's coming, and things will be happening. So we'll see if Dillon shows up or what might happen down the road. Let's move on to some more legit, more professional type stuff. We got one championship going on this weekend. As I mentioned earlier, this is a fight night on Amazon Prime Video. So you can, if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch this. It is tomorrow night, actually. One Fight Night 14, and it is headlined. Yeah, this is the card. I'm sorry, I actually forgot that this is the one I mentioned. This is an all-women's main card, which is pretty interesting. Stamp Fairtex is pretty much a star in her own right now. A lot of people are high on her, whether they are big in the sport or not, because she's entertaining too. And she looks like a sweet little innocent girl, but she does some crazy dance moves, and she's entertaining. And she's a hell of a fighter as well. And then again, you've got nothing but women on this main card, all here on the poster. Danielle Kelly is another one that's interesting as well, with a rematch against Jessica Khan, who has beaten her in the past. And then you got a couple other fights going on here. We'll get into it a little deeper. I'll show you the rest of the card, because there is something interesting here going on at the bottom. You got Hands of Stone, John Lineker, former UFC fighter, is fighting Stefan Lohman in a bantamweight MMA fight. Let's see here. Stamp Fairtex is fighting He Ham, which of course all these are like Asian based fighters. One championship is based in Singapore. So Stamp Fairtex is 10-2, and So He Ham, that's what it is 26-8. And then we got Danielle Kelly. Oh, that is a strawweight main event for a title. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out women's. Oh, it's an interim atomweight MMA World Championship. That's weird, because it says here it's a. What the hell? All right, so see, this is confusing, because their one championships promotional thing says women's interim atomweight MMA World Championship, because Angela Lee is actually the champ right now, but she has been out due to her sister passing away. She took her own life, and I guess Angela Lee has actually had bouts of depression that she has also attempted to take her own life in the past as well. And they also have a brother who fights in one championship. I don't know his state, but with losing their sister in the fashion that they did, it's going to be a while before she comes back. So they're doing this interim championship to, of course, keep the division moving along. Stamp Fairtex, though, versus Angela Lee would be a hell of a fight, and it would be really interesting. So, but the other big fight on here is Danielle Kelly versus Jessica Khan in a strawweight. I think they call it strawweight. No, that's women's atomweight submission grappling world championship. So this is the inaugural women's submission grappling world championship. So they're fighting for a title for the first time in this division for women. And Danielle Kelly, like I said, has lost to Jessica Khan in the past. So she is looking for that revenge fight to get that loss back and turn it into a win along with a title. So it should be interesting. One championship is fun. Like I said, in the past, there's all kinds of different fights. You have Muay Thai, you have submission grappling, you have MMA, all kinds of different stuff. So it's actually a pretty fun thing to watch. So if you don't have nothing going on tomorrow night, you can watch this on Prime Video. And the times are tough. I don't know exactly what time it starts. It says 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you're on the West Coast, it's probably going to be about 5 p.m. when that gets started. And like I said, it's included with Amazon Prime, so you can watch it there for free if you already are a subscriber to that. So let's move on to another woman headlined combat sports event this weekend. BKFC61 is happening tomorrow night as well. In, let's see, where is this happening? Well, I guess it says Salem Civic Center. Oh, it's Salem, Virginia. That's what I was looking for. And this is going to be on at 6 p.m. tomorrow night. You can watch it on the BKFC app. And yeah, we got Britton Hart versus damn, what is this girl's name? I'm looking for her first name here. Melanie Shaw, who is 2-0 in the BKFC right now, and Britton Hart is your current champ at strawweight, and she is 7-3 in the BKFC. She's lost to Christine Ferreira twice and Beck Rawlings once, but she's on a 3-fight win streak and is the current champion, I believe. Yeah. So that should be a fun fight. And let's see, there's not a whole lot else on the rest of this card, but you know, you get crazy fights when it comes to BKFC. Bare knuckle. I mean, it's bloody, it's exciting, it's fun. If you have nothing else to watch, if you're not into one FC or one championship, then go watch some BKFC. You know, do a picture-in-picture, dual screen, watch it on your tablet, your computer, your TV, who cares? You got a lot of combat sports to watch tomorrow night. That's all there is to it. So if you're a big fan, then you can check that out. Friday night, couple different fights. Should be fun. But last weekend, besides the UFC, we had Bellator Dublin going on. This was Johnny Eblen versus Fabian Edwards. And let me tell you this, it was a banger. there was fireworks all over the place when it came to this fight. Before the fight, during the fight, after the fight. There was blood, there was cuts, there was post-fight fights, not full-on knuckle like kicks and punches fights, but people were going at it. It was crazy, to say the least. So this was that Dublin event, though, like I said, and those are always pretty good events. You know, Bellator does events in Dublin a lot, and they actually they're actually pretty good cards most of the time. So let's see here. I want to take a look at the lower part of the card because I don't fully remember what we had going. Oh yeah, this was the marathon card. There was 20 fights on this fucking card. Now, don't forget, Bellator is on its way out, according to all the reports. It sounds like they're being absorbed by probably PFL. So it looks like PFL is going to buy them out. And maybe we'll see some of their fighters get moved over to the UFC or something of that nature. Who knows? But as of right now, it seems like we're going to get Bellator 300, which is their next event. And then Bellator 301, which they have announced. But according to Johnny Eblen, it sounds like basically the vibe around those events and backstage for Bellator is not the same as it used to be. Said it seems very glim, very sad, and I guess that just kind of confirms that it's looking like they're on their way out, which is sad because Bellator's been around for a while. It's run by Scott Coker right now, and basically, I mean, he ran Strikeforce before too, so he's well known. But you know, Bellator is one of those promotions, like they really don't do well with promoting the fights. You never really know when it's going to be on, what time, where to watch. It's constantly changing, but they do have legit fighters, and they do have a lot of big name fighters as well. A lot of former UFC champions or just former UFC fighters in general have gone over to Bellator. A lot of times they're on their way out of their career, but sometimes they've gone over there being a free agent or just getting released from the UFC, and they wind up in Bellator. So, you know, everyone talks about it being UFC's boneyard, UFC's graveyard for fighters is what Bellator is. But hey, they put on good events. There's a lot of times there's up and coming fighters that begin in Bellator and wind up in the UFC as stars, just like Michael Chandler. For one example is what I'm trying to say. Eddie Alvarez was in Bellator. I mean, there's so many people that were in Bellator that came over to the UFC and had a successful career in the UFC as well. So it is kind of sad to see that it's going to be going away. But as of right now, they're still putting on events. Bellator 299 in Dublin was this past weekend. Probably going to be their last in Dublin, obviously. But let's see what happened down in the lower portion of the card. Peter Queally versus Daniele Michelli. It wound up as a no contest, an illegal soccer kick. Now, this wasn't a full-on kick. I watched the highlights of this, and it was almost a grazing of the eye, which made it worse. Daniele Michelli did throw a kick at Peter Queally while he was down on one knee, and he kind of grazed his eye with his toe. So I think it actually cut Peter Queally, and that's what made them stop the fight, because it was an illegal strike, and then his eye just automatically blew up and was bleeding and just, you know, swelled shut. So they couldn't continue the fight, so it turned into a no contest, which is weird because if it's an illegal soccer kick, I believe that should have been a win by DQ for Peter Queally. So I don't understand that one. It's a little strange. It is what it is, though. Levin Coakley versus Sabah Hamasi. Coakley won by KO front kick. And then Mads Burnell got a win over Daniel Weichel. Unanimous decision. Sarah Collins beats Sinead Kavanaugh by split decision, which is tough because I mean, Sinead Kavanaugh is a pretty tough chick that she doesn't have the best record in the world, but she is a great fighter. So that was kind of a crazy loss there by split decision to Sarah Collins. But now we'll move on to the main co-main event of Bellator Dublin, which was Aaron Pico versus Pedro Carvalho. And I mean, this was a pretty fun fight. Aaron Pico looked like the Aaron Pico of old. Basically, he was a highly touted up and comer. He's a crazy, highly decorated wrestler coming out of college. Went straight to Bellator, and I think they just kind of pushed him too fast. Basically, he took on a little too much right away, and he got knocked out. He was knocking people out, but he also got knocked out, and he just went on a losing streak, basically. Let me see if I can find... He's 12-4 overall, so it's not a bad record at all. But like I said, he came into Bellator and lost his debut fight right away. But then he got 4 wins in a row by KO and TKO. Then wound up on a 2-fight losing streak, both by KO and TKO. So he got stopped in 2 fights in a row in 2019. Then he came back in 2020, went on a big win streak. 6 6-fight win streak with only one decision in there. He had a couple submissions and a few TKO and KOs. Then he lost again to Jeremy Kennedy, which was a TKO to shoulder injury. See, so this was an injury, and they gave his opponent a win. So it's kind of strange. But now he's on a 2-fight winning streak, with including this one against Pedro Carvalho. So yeah, that's kind of just a little breakdown of Aaron Pico, because you know, a lot of people might not know him. A lot of MMA analysts and stuff were kind of hoping that he wound up in the UFC, but we figured if he gets through Bellator, gets a few fights under his belt, and gets some experience in Bellator, maybe he'll make his way over to the UFC. So now with Bellator kind of closing its doors, maybe this is something that can happen, because he has been on a little bit of a tear, showing a good, you know, showing some good talent and some good skills to possibly put a good run together and maybe make a splash in the UFC, which would be kind of awesome to see. But yeah, he's always got those crazy takedowns, big body punches, and finished it off with a big punch and wound up actually getting the win off of TKO, off of punches in the first round. So it didn't take long for Pico to get that win. His last win was by unanimous decision, but he looked good in that fight as well. So, oh, damn it. I'm changing pages and everything on accident. Yeah, so Aaron Pico with the win over Pedro Carvalho. Then we get to the main event, where we have Fabian Edwards, who is Leon Edwards' brother. Leon Edwards is the current welterweight champ. Yeah, welterweight champ in the UFC. I always have to think about it. Welterweight and middleweight, get them confused. But yeah, Leon Edwards' brother, fighting for the title in Bellator versus Johnny Eblen. And a lot of people are really, really high on Johnny Eblen, including Gamebred Jorge Masvidal, who goes out there and tells everybody that he's the best, and he is a champ. So you can't argue that too much. But this was a pretty fun fight overall. Johnny Eblen gets the win in the third round by KO. But throughout the fight, I mean, Fabian Edwards gave him a good fight, pretty much, with some big punches that were landed, and actually cut Eblen pretty badly in the I don't know if it was the end of the second or the beginning of the third. I think it was end of the second, but it was so bad that a lot of people worried they were going to stop the fight. And I'll have a little preview of, or a little view of that cut a little later. So if you're squeamish, I'll give you the heads up, because it's a nasty one. But I don't know if this was the exact punch, but he did wind up with a cut over that eye. And so this was a big punch he landed here. So Fabian Edwards gave him a good fight and put up some, you know, good striking against Johnny Eblen. But Eblen is just too good, man. He's well-rounded, and he's well-rounded. My phone's ringing. That's why I'm reaching over. Yeah, he's just got the skills, and he's hot right now. Like, he's just on a streak. Let's see. He is, oh, Jesus Christ, man. He is 14-0 in the Bellator. Or in MMA overall, I'm sorry. In Bellator, he is 10-0. So, yeah, and he kept that going by getting a KO win over Fabian Edwards to retain his belt and retain his undefeated record. So imagine him going to the UFC. A lot of people are talking about that right now because of this Bellator situation that's going on, and watching Johnny Eblen fight and seeing his skills and the way he puts up with that, you know, the way he pushes through adversity and the way he finishes fights is just exciting, and it shows Gamebred knowing his shit and saying he's the best. I mean, there is an argument right now for it, especially after this win against Fabian Edwards, with these big punches and big strikes. You know, he actually wound up just stunning him in the third round, dropping him and finishing him. So, and Johnny Eblen was just fucking fired up throughout this whole fight. There was shit talking before, there was shit talking during, and there was shit talking after. So, this was the finishing sequence here, and then dropped him on the ground, finished it up with some ground and pound, and then, unfortunately for Eblen, this wasn't a good look. He stood over the ref, screaming down at Fabian Edwards while he's knocked the fuck out, basically. Not knowing what's going on, trying to collect himself, I'm sure. And Eblen standing over him, bleeding from his eye, and spitting while he's talking. So it wasn't a good look. A lot of people thought that he was actually spitting on Fabian Edwards as he's lying there after a TKO loss. Like, that's pretty damn disrespectful. But I get it. Eblen said on I think he was on MMA Hour as well, that basically it was like heat of the moment, man. He was just caught up in the moment, and you know, that's not always a good excuse, but with all the shit talking going on, you know, I feel like it was a bit much. I feel like I would have felt disrespected myself had I seen my brother or my training partner or my, you know, the person I train having that happen to him. I'd be kind of pissed too. But Eblen gets the win, retains his belt. Like I said, keeps that undefeated record. But this is what I was talking about after the fight. Johnny Eblen and Leon Edwards got into a little scuffle, a little screaming match. You can see Johnny Eblen's eye just bloody, bleeding all over the place, yelling and screaming at Leon. Because, of course, Leon sees what happened to his brother. He's already feeling some kind of way watching his brother get KO'd. And then you see the guy that just did it standing over him, yelling and screaming and shit. It's like, bro, you won. Like, get back the fuck up. I would have gone after him too. And Leon, being the competitor he is, and you know he doesn't back down, especially, you know, he was talking shit to Masvidal backstage years back and, you know, caught that 3-piece in a soda. But, yeah, he definitely doesn't hold back. He seems like a quiet dude, but he can hold his own, and he's a champ in the UFC right now for a reason. But Eblen wanted a piece of that, especially with all the shit talking. So he said cooler heads prevailed. He talked to Leon after the fact. He apologized to him and Fabian and the coaches and said that, you know, it was just heat of the moment type stuff. He let his emotions run too high. And he apologized, so that's cool. I commend him for that one. And he also told Leon to make sure he beats the shit out of Colby Covington because he hates him, which I thought was dope because I hate him too. So I'm an Eblen fan, even though I didn't agree with the way he, you know, ended that fight and how, you know, that kind of shit. But he apologized, he explained himself, and I appreciate that. So I give him a pass, and I hope he doesn't keep that kind of shit up unless there's real, you know, that's the kind of shit I would hope somebody did to Colby Covington or Sean Strickland, not to somebody like Fabian Edwards, who seemingly didn't do anything bad except for maybe some random shit talking. At least it seemed like. Maybe I missed something, I'm not sure, but it is what it is, and this was a fun fight. Like I said, a lot of fireworks, and here you go. Fair warning. This is a pretty graphic picture, but it's fun to look at. And you get to see what happens when you're a fighter in MMA. Here it is. Oh, you gotta be kidding me right now. There it is. I guess they wanted me to have an extra second of time to warn everybody that this is a nasty ass picture, but that is crazy. That is a cut from a punch or an elbow. I'm not exactly sure. Dustin Poirier posted this on his story on Instagram, and because Poirier is a training partner of Johnny Eblen, and he said, "Champ said it's just a scratch." That is a hell of a scratch. I mean, you can see a lot. He said it just missed a couple of arteries in his head. I can't believe how deep that is. I mean, when you scroll in on a phone, you can kind of see there's a vein going through. It's whew. If you're squeamish, you probably don't want to stare at this too much. But yeah, it's interesting. It's crazy to see that big of a cut. I didn't see any videos of them making the cut talk, but Evelyn acted like it was just every day for him. So I'm glad he's okay. Hopefully, he heals up quick. And congrats to him for getting that win over Fabian Edwards and continuing to show how good of a fighter and how talented he is. All right. Let's move on to last week's UFC Fight Night 228, Fiziev versus Gamrot. This was an unexpected outcome, unfortunately. It was looking like it was going to be a damn good fight. 5 rounds for the main event, number 6 versus number 7. Fiziev's always in a fun and high energy fight and lots of action, and Gamrot's right there with him. His nickname's Gamer, and he is a fucking gamer. But there's an unfortunate ending to this fight. If you didn't watch, Fiziev wound up having to stop, and they had to stop the fight because he hurt himself. So we'll get into that here in a minute. Oh my god, my phone will not stop. I'm glad I'm not in town and on call, because I would have to be leaving to go see what's going on. But since I'm not in my hometown and I'm away from home, I don't have to worry about it. So we'll keep going here. Again, Fiziev versus Gamrot was a great fight. It was, it only lasted a round and a half, but it was looking like a very entertaining fight until the unfortunate injury. So let's see who else was on the bottom of this card. Lower in the card we had Mizuki Inoue, coming from the Serra-Longo camp, I believe. She got a win over Hannah Goldie by unanimous decision. That was a strawweight fight. Oh, Mohammed Usman versus Jake Collier. Usman got a unanimous decision win there. That was a fun one. Cody Brundage gets a win over Jacob Malkoon. Middleweight fight. That was a disqualification by illegal elbow. So yeah, Brundage gets the win by DQ. And that takes us to Tim Means, which was a fun one to watch as well, because the Dirty Bird got dirty in this fight. Tim Means. Oh my god, my phone is just blowing up. Luckily, it's not anybody in my family. I don't have to worry about it right now. It's just work. I can't do anything from here, so whatever. Yeah, Tim Means looked like Tim Means of old. He came out looking damn good against